Fetty Wap interlude is over with.
Dude, I love Fetty Wap.
Dude, Fetty Wap, he used to be the future. Bro, back in like middle school,
That was... I messed with him heavy.
He was everything. He was everywhere,
Bro,
too.
did you have the soda?
Yeah. And then he had a brief resurgence with the Can I get to the yams?
Sweet yams. Show me the way. Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody, to Off the Clock. We are not getting to the yams today, but we have a couple awesome stories. So
Yeah, a lot happened this week.
Very busy week. So the episode that came out last week got uploaded on Monday, and Monday a lot of things happened. For one, the largest drop in stock market history happened because Nvidia dropped, I think, 600 billion of market cap.
Yeah.
Because of China's new open source AI model, DeepSeek.
Yeah.
DeepSeek is, so compared to OpenAI's ChatGPT, the thing that, you know,
The newest version of ChatGPT.
yeah, the newest version of ChatGPT, and all the different models, like, you know, you got Claude, you got, I think, Copilot they're trying to launch on the Microsoft systems.
Yeah.
All these different systems. DeepSeek is free compared to the $200 like price tag of ChatGPT, and it is also open source. So
anyone can download it and see how it works. You can also use it to like help create APIs for different things, which is really cool. This is like it's on par for some of the greatest like just pure internet like history, programming history.
No, for
it's
sure.
definitely on the board now. The same way that, you know, most of the internet is maintained by like, you know, the classic picture of like it's one guy maintaining one
it's like
small piece of
one
software.
little board that's like holding up an entire like castle.
This is you know, in that same vein of you know, internet freedom.
Yeah, and I think because it came from China, there's going to be some very interesting conversations around it, because it's been a constant battle between the West and the East in terms of trying to maintain dominance over the AI market space and just the tech space in general. But I think it's nice that we have like an open source alternative, a free alternative, because I think what we're going to get is a lot of innovation, like a little age of innovation where it's people making a bunch of new models like fast.
Yeah.
Even a couple days ago, I think Alibaba, which is another Chinese company, I believe.
It's Chinese Amazon.
Yeah. So they released a model which apparently is better than like the 2.5 version of DeepSeek.
Oh, wow.
Apparently. So it's going to be a bunch of different companies using the baseline, like the new baseline that got set up by DeepSeek to sort of, everything's going to get faster, everything's going to get quicker, everything's going to get better, and maybe things are going to get cheaper, because apparently training DeepSeek only cost like, I think, what was it?
5.5 million.
Yeah, 5.5 million, which is way less than the price tag of training OpenAI and all that.
Yeah. I mean, the question now is whether or not like the physical hardware is the limiting factor, and that's why Nvidia lost so much market cap yesterday. Not yesterday, but on Monday.
Yeah,
is because they are running this is something that's not really talked about too much. They just, you know, this happens. Nvidia stock falls, and the correlation between the two is actually that they are using like out of date hardware, and they trained it, and it still runs, and it's still great. It runs just about the same time as ChatGPT for like any kind of request. It also can show you its thought process,
which is huge.
Before it starts answering, it does its entire thought process in plain text for you, which is a lot easier for like if anyone has used like these AI models before, these LLMs, for like tweaking prompts, so you can see like the lapse in error, like where it goes wrong when it's thinking to itself, and then you can you can correct it much easier.
Another good thing about that is also like a lot of people use AI to learn. Like I know a few different times.
Yeah.
The first time that I ever opened up ChatGPT, aside from like I wanted to code a spreadsheet and I didn't know how to code a spreadsheet properly using Excel and Google Sheets.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, ChatGPT, I want to do this, this, and this. Help. But another time that I used it, the other time I used it for one of my classes, was I didn't understand this concept in one of my stats classes. And I was like, so these are my variables. How do I figure out like the relationship between them and all that? And then ChatGPT spits out like a super long, you know, this is why this works, this is why this works. So this A leads to B leads to C. Yeah. And having the thought process makes it a lot easier to follow if you're using ChatGPT as like not like a teaching replacement, but as a teaching aid.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've used it for the most. I think most people, you know, the most human thing ever is to become like everyone's got sort of an eye for AI writing now.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of tell when something's been just
Mhm.
completely written by AI. And so I think that's probably the weakest use for it at this point. And the thing I use it for the most was just learning. Like I was struggling in finance really bad and I just couldn't really
Mhm.
understand it. And so I would just, I would use ChatGPT to help like, plug in a problem and then see
Mhm.
the steps to solve it and then see where I go wrong, etc. And it helped a lot.
Yeah.
So,
The one thing that I'll say it probably won't help with is the massive energy usage problem that's been like a thing for AI.
yeah.
Period. Although I don't know because I tried. So when I heard the news about it last night,
Mhm.
because I wasn't super keeping up with everything, but I read a few articles last night. I read a few articles this morning. Shout out to the archive site I was using to read the Washington Post articles. But apparently it's. Oh my God, I completely lost my train of thought. Save me. It's a podcast. We need to keep it going. Save me, save me, save me.
Okay. Yeah. No. It's just about you rattled me somehow. Yeah. It's running on outdated hardware, but the amount of energy that it requires to not just train but to operate is a lot. So there's, I think, I think the stat I saw was when you search something on Google. So if you search up anything on Google, it
Mhm.
takes about enough electricity to keep a light bulb on, like a standard
Mm.
light bulb on, for about 7 seconds.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
any kind of like LLM like usage. So like if you put a prompt into ChatGPT or put a prompt into DeepSeek or any of these things,
Mhm.
it requires just about enough electricity to maintain like a laptop for 17 minutes.
Yeah,
like keep
which
a
is
laptop on.
a massive gap in terms of
Yeah,
bro. It's massive.
it's massive. Yeah.
But the thing I was gonna say is this morning, and a little bit of last night, I saw that it was open source. I saw that it's a thing that you could download the API to your machine.
Yeah.
So naturally, I tried to download the API to my machine.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Okay, so when it comes to tech things,
Mm-hmm.
the things that I know and the things that I learn are just mostly through like trial and error and brute forcing it and
Sure.
trying to, aggressively Googling, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do whatever? Which is a good way to learn, in my opinion. I don't necessarily have the newest DeepSeek model up on my computer. I saw that it's like almost a terabyte of storage
Yeah. it's a lot.
to keep it. But when I do, I'm gonna check back. I'm gonna give my personal perspective on what it's been able to do for me. Because like the main reason that I object to AI usage, aside from the fact that it like rots our brains a little bit, because a lot of people overuse it, a lot of people over rely on it, a lot of
Yeah.
people use it in lieu of thinking, which is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the other reason was like the energy usage is so high that it's going to accelerate global warming to the point where it's like, oh, okay, everything's on fire. California's
Yeah. It's
cooked.
like the energy problem is definitely at the forefront now. It's that and hardware.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I think we've talked about it before on the podcast, but all of these models, like all the big models, are trained on the entire internet.
Yeah.
So
And the internet is big.
yeah, but they did it already. There's
Mhm.
no more internet for it. I'm not
Mm.
joking either. Like
Oh yeah, I know
they
what you're talking
keep
about. Yeah.
they keep before they would double the amount that it's trained on, double the hardware,
Mhm.
and then the performance would double or it would increase exponentially.
Mhm.
But they've run out of things to train it on. So a lot of these things like ChatGPT started training it on itself.
And it's plateauing, and it's like
Well, that's why we got so many. Like that's why there are so many like oddities with ChatGPT, where
Mm.
sometimes it'll just lie to you or lie to itself.
Mhm.
It'll create these like nothing burger
Yeah,
sort of responses.
the hallucinations.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it's called too.
Mhm.
They're called hallucinations.
Yeah, which is, I don't like that AI has like consciousness almost.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't like that it can do that.
But it is just energy and hardware,
Mhm.
and it seems like we don't need as much hardware as we thought.
Yeah.
Or at least the market doesn't think so.
Yeah, and also like growing in terms of hardware is going to be hard because recently Trump said that he wants to put a tariff on semiconductors that come from Taiwan, which is like
That's
that's the main thing that Nvidia is using for its chips. So not only are they getting like slapped by DeepSeek sort of saying, hey, your AI like growth and usage is bad, but also we're going to make it more expensive for you to make chips.
yeah.
It's going to be a tough thing.
Yeah, I don't think that one will be able to fly. Just based on
Yeah.
it's like it is the bleeding edge of technology right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is chip sizes, but it's very difficult to go down in chip sizes. We are getting to the point where we can see the end of going down
Mm-hmm.
in chip sizes.
Yeah.
At least at the highest end.
Yeah.
But regardless,
I was gonna say Trump had an interesting week.
did he?
I don't want to talk too much about politics because we mainly cover the economy and marketing and business and things like that, but he signed
Sure.
a lot of executive orders, and also homeboy at his inauguration, Mr. Elon Musk.
Oh,
He-
everybody knows what he did. We don't have to say.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what
Listen,
he did. We don't have to say.
But
it.
the
Yeah,
only
we're
Roman
back.
salute I want to focus on is acknowledging my tribal chief, aka the number
Oh, we're
one
doing
guy,
WWE
the number
now?
one guy in WWE. That's the segment I was telling you about.
Okay.
The only Roman salute I want to talk about is that. So
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, my tribal chief, the one true tribal chief, the original
Sure,
tribal chief.
Sure. Is he still kicking, man?
He is. So he's in the Royal Rumble, which is going to be this Saturday.
Mhm. Where is it?
It's in Indianapolis, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, super big. Like they have I want to say 60,000 people at that show,
Dang.
which is like WWE's been doing like gangbusters in terms of making money.
Really?
Like they're in
is
terms
there a reason for some kind of like resurgence?
of it's a combination of like. So when they got absorbed under the TKO bubble, which is like the parent company to UFC,
Sure.
they brought in a lot of people who are better. They're just more savvy in a business sense, where WWE had a lot of missed opportunities where it's like, okay, they're sticking to the same types of celebrities. They're not really looking at all the different verticals in which they can
Sure.
grow their content.
Okay.
And now they're like getting a lot more celebrity endorsements. They're doing a lot more brand deals and sponsorships, which are bringing more revenue. They're raising ticket prices, which is like leading to insane amounts of money that they're bringing in from doing shows.
Okay, so the core content really hasn't changed too much. Like,
Yeah.
that really hasn't undergone
Yeah.
hasn't undergone any changes, but it's just like all the stuff around it.
Yeah, well, also like the core content kind of changed a little bit when Vince McMahon stepped down because Vince McMahon.
Yeah, but that was a while ago.
That was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it's been on an upswing since I want to say like WrestleMania 38, which was in 2022.
Okay.
And it's still going up. WrestleMania 40 was like one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time in terms
Alright.
of money and all those sort of aspects. And now they're on Netflix, which is great. But
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That is good.
yeah, they put their regular streaming show on, or they put
Raw.
Monday Night Raw, which is the longest running televised weekly sports program. I don't know what the specific phrase is, but it's been going since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's on Netflix, so a lot more viewers that they can bring in through there, a lot of money that they made through that deal. And also a thing that they're doing is in the ring. The ring used to be completely like clean, like it's just a white like apron, a white little canvas.
Yeah.
But now they got like Fortnite and Snickers and a WWE logo, and like how the UFC does it and like boxing rings do it, where there's a bunch of different corporate sponsorships on the ring.
Okay,
So-
that's good.
Yeah,
Because I don't think that takes away from.
yeah.
I don't think that takes away from the actual content that much.
Yeah, and they got a lot of good talent who's like on the shows nowadays,
Mhm.
and the booking is slightly different. So the booking is related to the reason that I wanted to bring up the WWE. So WWE is predetermined and scripted
Yeah.
and fake.
Yeah.
not-
Shocker.
Yeah, not fake because the stunts that they do are real.
Yeah.
Shout out JD McDonough, who is a pro wrestler who took a nasty. He did like a little like flip over the top rope. Over by the announce table, smacks his head, smacks his back right into the announce table, comes away with a punctured lung and 2 broken ribs.
Oh my goodness.
Like, still finishes the match though, because he's
That's
a beast.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, gets to backstage and collapses. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But WWE is predetermined, and some could say that leads to a lot of good business opportunities because you can bank on stars a lot more reliably when you know that you have control over like where they're going to be positioned. Like,
Yeah.
I first started by talking about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had a like 1,316 day long title reign,
Yeah.
which was running for years.
Yeah.
He was the most bankable star that they had in the company. So they could put a bunch of money behind him. They could put a bunch of money behind his appearances. They could put a bunch of money behind the people that were challenging to fight him.
Yeah.
It was a money match as long as Roman Reigns was involved. And part of why they could do that is because they could build him up and be like, okay, you're winning here. You're winning here. You're going to look like this against this guy. You're going to look like this against this guy. So I opened that up to WWE might not be the only sports company that wants to build certain stars in a certain way. And the point I'm getting to is the NFL a little scripted?
Okay.
Because like Patrick Mahomes
Are
can't
the
keep-
writers getting sloppy?
Are the writers getting sloppy? If Patrick Mahomes gets the three-peat, I swear to God, I'm going to be insufferable because not next episode, but the episode after that, we're going to be talking about Super Bowl ads.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, and I might have to have a little like 5-minute, 10-minute tangent just talking about like why Patrick Mahomes is the worst football player. I don't like that he's compared to Tom Brady.
Neither do I.
Because
I don't really keep up with football or watch very much at all.
Mhm.
But Tom Brady is the GOAT.
Yeah,
And I don't want anyone changing that
dude.
because I don't like change.
Me too. If you saw the, I think it was the Chiefs versus the Bills. They had Tom Brady on commentary, and Tom Brady's like really good on commentary because
Okay.
he knows ball so well that it's just he's seeing all these insights that no other commentator would see.
Okay.
But the funny thing about him talking is like, oh, there was a window here. There wasn't a window. The only person who could like someone misses a pass and they're like, oh, well, he could have done this and he could have done this and he could have done this. But Tom Brady doesn't realize that like not every quarterback is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And he's talking about like things that only he has the capacity to do because he's the GOAT.
He works in that pocket.
He works in that pocket.
That boy's slippery in the pocket.
Bro, the only person comparable to Tom Brady in the pocket is Lamar Jackson. I'll say it.
I love Lamar Jackson.
Dude.
He's awesome.
I like Lamar Jackson.
What is it? What's the Super Bowl going to be this year? It's Chiefs
versus Eagles.
the Philadelphia.
The Philadelphia Eagles and
Dude,
Jalen Hurts.
If Philly wins, the city is gonna burn down, and if they lose, the city's gonna burn down. They literally just destroy public property anytime a game happens.
That's Philadelphia culture.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. It's awesome. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I hope Philly wins.
I really hope
that
Philly
would be
wins
hilarious.
because okay. So what I did for the last game, for the Bills Chiefs game, because I hate the Kansas City Chiefs, and I also hate Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills.
We be praying on it.
I don't like either of them, but I think the Chiefs getting a chance for winning 3 games in a row or 3 Super Bowls in a row, never happened before. I don't like the narratives that it's going to create about oh, Patrick Mahomes.
There's going to be a GOAT conversation.
Dude, Patrick Mahomes might be the best quarterback ever, and maybe Patrick plus Travis Kelce is maybe they're better than Brady plus Gronk. You know,
That's wild. I'm going to get mad.
I'm already getting mad, but what I did was for the sake of my happiness is I bet on the team that I want to lose. So that if they win, I get
you're hedging
money.
your bets a little bit.
If they win, I get money, and if they lose, I get happiness.
Sure.
Which,
okay, I like that.
Yeah, another point related to sports betting is why I mentioned the thing about
I'll ask.
Okay.
Why is it rigged, Alex?
Okay. So there are a bunch of opportunities that companies can make when they know that they have bankable stars.
Sure.
Imagine it's just some random dude in the Super Bowl every year who has no narrative behind him, no storyline behind him. It's going to be harder for the NFL to get buy-in. And almost a similar case with the NBA, although NBA maybe a little less. But the point is, there's so much money going through these systems, so much with the advent of DraftKings, Hard Rock, Prize Picks, all these sports betting sites becoming, since gambling's become legal in the United States, there's so much.
No, it's Florida. It's Florida. Florida was late to it. So what I wanted to talk about when you were getting into this topic is that this is a very recent thing for Florida. There have always been bookies. There have always been people that you could talk to and bet on sports and do whatever. But it was legalized only a few years ago in Florida. And first it was only Hard Rock, then it was, DraftKings, Prize Picks, etc. And first off, we are the primary demographic. We are men, early 20s, and they are marketing hard.
You cannot watch a single game without seeing at least 50
Not even
ads.
that. It's YouTube videos. It's mid-roll ads. It's banner ads. It's on the side of the screen. It's everywhere, man. Hard Rock, come roll with us. Post Malone sized bet. It's everywhere.
No,
I have no interest in doing it, but it is huge and it's working. Young men,
so much debt.
They are loving gambling, and it's a part of a bigger theory I have on financial nihilism. But
go into that theory. I'm curious.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people are sort of disenfranchised and sort of they are disheartened.
Mm.
Is a better word.
They feel resigned to their financial circumstances.
Yeah. You can't really just go get a job, work hard, and be able to buy a house and then do the American dream, like make a family, have kids, whatever, comfortably by just like getting a job and working hard. You have to do more. And with social media being like so prevalent, and a lot of young men's role models are just like these people who are just wealthy. Like that's it. That's their whole thing, is that they're wealthy.
LeBron James.
Well, that man, don't say nothing about that man. I love him.
Sunshine.
Yeah. And I think that when you are in this, place and you are sort of resigned to your material conditions that you already have, it's a lot easier to be like, well, whatever, it doesn't even matter. I might as well punt my money on some like random 6-leg parlay, and if I hit it, I get to actually be rich.
I see what you mean.
And I think that's the greater. That's also I think that's the greater force behind things like Klarna, Afterpay, like all these places that are, buy now, pay later. I mean, we used to have layaway. It was huge. People used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's bad. It's just a bad habit.
Yeah. I agree with you. I definitely agree with what you're saying. There's like a lot of doomerism where it's like, okay, in 10 years, I might not even be here. The planet might be underwater. I might be dead. So it's people like they're using debt to finance a lifestyle that they know they can never pay back, but they don't really want to pay back because they know that like they might not even be here in like a few years, which is crazy.
I believe it is financial nihilism, and I think it's very harmful for specifically our age demographic. But regardless,
I'll say it: gambling, it's gone too far. We need to do away with it.
Genuinely so bad for you, but it's so fun. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say that like I don't think
there's a similar conversation about alcoholism. Although anytime that like people like prohibition back in the day, people were ready to die for that. People were ready to die for their booze.
Dude, you take away the bread, you take away the circus, people get really, really, really mad.
Yeah.
So
people need their little their cheap thrills. You know?
Definitely. But okay. Getting back on track to why sports are rigged.
Yeah, so there's so much money passing through these games that there are certain outcomes to where if they were to happen, a lot of these companies would be in a lot worse of a financial position. And I think that a lot of them are rich enough to the point where they want to keep their things together, And also they know that there is a super duper huge, super duper large, demographic, and just there's a lot of people who are betting on these games who they can just sort of fleece the money out of.
Okay.
If they go like, okay, a specific example recently is I saw a lot of people, I wasn't involved in this because I think you're an idiot. The way that I sports bet is I bet on the outcome of games that I don't care about. I think anyone who's making parlays on like, this person's going to get like 20 points, or this person's going to get like 5 rebounds, or this person's going to get like, this person is going to get an anytime touchdown, this person's going to get an anytime touchdown. Like those are fool's bets. But one was, I think, DeMar DeRozan getting like, it was like over under 4 rebounds in a game, and like 250,000 people bet on the over.
That's wild. He
had 5 in the game, but the NBA corrected it after the fact down to 3.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
And people were like, bro, Vegas made the call.
No.
They called in the hit. It's crazy.
How do they do that? If they like they're counted during the game. You can see them during the game.
Yeah, and like
how do they get revised down?
No,
wait, I didn't know about
the
this.
apps were green, by the way.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, it's over. Okay, you're getting the money. And then they took it back because after the game they corrected it. Sometimes they do stats corrections in post, and sometimes it makes sense because like someone miscalls a thing during the game actually. But But that
makes sense for like fouls or free throws or anything like that. But rebounds are so cut and dry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would have to see the specifics, but that is actually crazy.
Yeah. But people always complain about like the Kansas City referees, and the referees are paid off during the games to influence certain outcomes is the narrative that people keep pushing.
Sure.
Which might have some merit to it, might have less merit to it. I don't know.
I don't watch the games.
I don't know. I don't like Kansas City. I don't like how you can't touch Patrick Mahomes without him getting a foul like drawn on him.
They draw and quarter anyone who touches him.
Exactly.
On the field too. It's during halftime. It's a crazy show.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of money that would just make more sense if they had some level of control over the outcomes of the games, so that money stayed in the hands of the powerful.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a total conspiracy theory, by the way.
But I'm down with this.
Yeah.
Let's get weird. Yeah, I think that could definitely work. Okay, I was not on board at all until you told me the DeMar DeRozan revised down stats. That seems like yes to me. Like, come on,
bro. There's a thing that people are saying about, like, I don't know if you know the stats on Mr. LeBron James.
I love him,
our king. For the past like 20-something years, 25 years, however long he's been active, he's had, I think, 6 or 7 games where he scored under 10 points.
Yeah, one of them was this year.
Yeah, and people are like, a lot of people are like, okay, it's safe money. I'm gonna bet on the 10 over on LeBron. When that bubble pops, bro,
it's picking up pennies in front of a steamroller.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I remember like it was a huge event when LeBron scored 9 points that game. Dude, there was a guy, I saw a TikTok, and a guy was like, it's just his face, and he's got the stats up, and he's like, the sun sets on an empire that seems too vast. You sometimes you stand at the top, at the peak, and you realize, what did I do to get here? And there's no one below me, but there's also no one above me. I am alone. I am, yeah. Like it was this whole monologue about how it's like the ending of a dynasty or whatever.
And then he shipped off to Europe, and then got the stem cells and gained 6 inches on the vertical.
Yeah, and then he came back next week and dropped 24, and then everyone was like, ah, yes.
Our glorious king is back.
He's home.
Yeah,
I don't know. People have off games.
Yeah, people have off games, but I think that's there's nothing really else to add about the sports thing.
Okay.
I will say, this week, milestone for me.
Oh yeah.
I posted on LinkedIn.
Oh, this is true. This is big. I'm gonna start posting on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, we've talked about LinkedIn before on previous episodes, but
I love LinkedIn.
There's so much opportunity, and I feel like I'm a master of like the LinkedIn pros, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because there's a certain tone that you have to take.
Yes, there is that tone.
Where I'm honored and I'm so excited to announce that I've had this opportunity in this spot in order to work with these amazing people, and I look forward to having continued opportunities in this zone in this land. But
he's cooking.
But I put up on LinkedIn because I realized for the past 6 months, I never actually formally updated my LinkedIn to say that I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah.
So I fixed that.
I did mine like a couple months ago, but I haven't posted, and I think I'm gonna start posting weekly when we post episodes.
Bro, you got to start posting.
I'm gonna become a LinkedIn poster. I'm gonna go up to people and shake their hand. I'm a LinkedIn influencer. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, bro, you're gonna be like that guy who's like, today was the worst day of my life.
Oh my god, that I will never forget.
I feel like we talked about this last time we talked about LinkedIn.
We did.
But today is the worst day of my life. I had to lay off half of my employees, and it's just a picture of him crying.
Yeah, CEO crying on LinkedIn. That's awesome.
Some people think that we're soulless, but I want you to know that every layoff comes from someone who cares.
Yeah.
And I had to make more profit.
Yeah, I just had to.
It made more sense for my company.
My yacht, it needs another like 50 square feet.
Yeah, if I ever lay off anyone within the podcast team, sorry, Kennedy.
That's crazy. No. Kennedy, honestly, he would lay me off before he would lay you off.
Yeah, I have to say it.
I don't know.
I would never lay you off.
Anyway.
I hope not. You guys are graduating. I'm still here.
That's true. That's true. We got to talk after the episode to see if you're gonna fill in these shoes, but
someday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, fill in this microphone.
Yeah. Yeah, posting on LinkedIn is hilarious. If I do it, I'm gonna try and match the pros and like do it correctly. But I just want, this is a little secret between me and then everyone watching as well at home. I don't care. I don't mean it. I'm faking it.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I did it mainly was because I realized, so last night I reached out to a future guest on our podcast who said that she was super interested.
We're super excited.
We are very excited to have her on. We've talked about her before. Alyssa England, very great guest speaker at one of our GBMs, which we didn't talk about this week's GBM. It was pretty simple. We went over ICC and Scramble and things like that.
And this little puppy, he's going to ICC fully funded.
I'm number three. Listen. I show up to every marketing meeting. I show up to every general body meeting that happens Tuesdays 4:45 in BSN 225. Show up. I go to every one of those. I did a few different Buccaneers events, but that doesn't count for points. That gave me just flat money.
Yep.
And I'm number 3 in terms of points within the club. So listen, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not showing up to every GBM and you're not showing up to every like meeting, like, and you want to go to New Orleans for free, I'm saving like $700.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's a ton.
It's nice. But my point was our super awesome guest who we're gonna have on the podcast. I realized that if I want to be messaging people through LinkedIn and I'm like, hey, I do this podcast for AMA.
You should probably have
I should probably like
documentation.
if they click on my LinkedIn profile, I want them to see things and not just like something I spat out at 11 p.m. like my sophomore year because someone told me I had to have a LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
You know, it's important to keep updated on your socials because like in the same way, every time that we do research for the podcast on our guests, every time that we research, we look at their LinkedIn first and we're like, okay, you had this opportunity, you did this thing, you talked about this thing. Hey, we can ask you about this, this, and this because it shows things that you're doing in the space. It shows things that you're interested in. And I want to afford the same opportunities to others that they've afforded to me. I want them to be able to stalk me as much as I can stalk them, you know?
That's fair. Yeah, that's a social contract.
Yeah, it's a social contract.
Yeah. How are we doing on time, by the way?
Where are we at on
We're
time?
at 32 right now.
32.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we can keep it pushing for a little bit longer because I got another thing that came out of doing the LinkedIn post was one of my professors reached out to me, which this is okay. I can tell a story about this. So longtime watchers of the podcast, if you watched especially our tier list episode where we talk about
Good episode.
classes, great episode. Watch it if you haven't. But I start talking about strategic management and decision making, which is one of the capstone classes. I believe it's GEB 4890. I had it with Dr. Chiradia, and I said, amazing teacher, insane the way that he
Is that the one that
ran his
does the
classes.
special thing on the first day?
Yeah. So
Can we get him on the pod?
he reached out to me.
Yeah,
And he said, if you need anyone on the podcast, like I have contacts.
Okay.
I might hit him up and be like,
You should, absolutely.
I think that would be sick. But he was getting lit up on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the USF subreddit. Every person who goes to USF, if you are kind of a nerd, you end up on the USF subreddit.
You be hitting it
And
up every once in a
someone was
while.
talking about him, and like this class, oh my god, he showed up. He gave us a pop quiz. Like no one was prepared for it. The highest score was 30. He was just being rude to everyone. He was being snappy about questions, and it's like, do I drop this class? Like, do I report him to the dean? Like, what do I do, bro?
That's awesome.
And the entire comment section was like, this is unacceptable behavior. Go to the dean, like message and be like, this is what you expect from your faculty members, bro.
Mhm.
Like this is awful. And I'm like the one soldier in the comments, which maybe I shouldn't have done this because I think for those who didn't watch the tier list episode, the point of him being unnecessarily rude and unnecessarily like quick with material in the first week is to weed students out so that in the second week he only has people who want to be in his class. And then he just starts teaching like normal, and then he starts teaching like one of the best professors I've had.
yeah.
But I am the one soldier in the comments being like, it's a weed out method. Don't like your shit is,
Yeah.
your stuff is gonna get curved.
Don't
Like-
report. First off, don't report him.
Yeah.
Just stay with it. I swear.
Yeah,
Like you have to believe me.
Exactly. Stay with it or switch. Like
Yeah.
if you switch, no shade to you, but like he's not a bad teacher. He's one of my favorite teachers I've had. So it was
Clearly
crazy.
His method worked.
Yeah. No. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And why are they reporting it on Reddit and not?
Because, okay, the demographic of people who primarily use Reddit, I'd say, is the people who would remind the teacher that they didn't assign homework,
Sort of. Yeah.
you know? So it's like they don't really, they're looking for acceptance amongst the masses in terms of like, hey, this was my experience. Has anyone else shared this?
Yep.
Hey, like, what do I do in this scenario? Hey, I'm going to warn you guys about this thing that happened to me. So I think it's someone who didn't know the resources that they had to report a teacher that they thought was kind of bad, and just wanted to share like, hey, this sucked. Like, help me.
Yeah. It's like rate my professor, but you can interact with other people who have commented.
Exactly.
Like that's the goal of this post.
Okay. I guess I've never looked at anything about USF on Reddit.
Yeah.
I mainly use it for like books.
Yeah.
Which
Mm.
sucks, by the way. I didn't realize how many spoilers were on there.
Oh.
Yeah, people forget their spoiler tags. They have no decorum. We used to be like a real society.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
used to be a real
Yeah.
society.
Yeah. Although I checked his Rate My Professor too, by the way, and it's like I put a review on Rate My Professor. I gave him 5 stars. Everything else is like he got review bombed with like 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. He has like a 1.7 average right now.
That's crazy. I think that is lower than the professor I really greatly disliked
Oh,
from
the
last semester.
the one from last semester who was really bad
who is terrible.
and actually deserving of a low rating.
Correct. That's crazy that his is lower. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that is hilarious. I think that is a valid weed out method, and I think if you get caught by that, you kind of just have to take a long look in the mirror.
I think it is a method that's made to weed out the narcs and the nerds and the
dorks.
the dorks.
Yeah.
And if you're cool and able to withstand a little bit of quick teaching and unorthodox methods, you have a really fun time in the class.
Also, I wanted to talk about my marketing management communications class with Carol Osborne. Love her.
Love Carol Osborne.
She's
Shout out
great.
Carol
She's
Osborne.
amazing.
Yeah.
She has no filter.
She's
I love
incredible.
that she says what's on her mind.
She talked about she's like, I think I'm gonna start doing makeup quizzes or makeup exams like the finance professors do it. And she was like, I love the way the finance professors do it. They're so evil. And she was like, yeah, I was talking to this one finance professor, and I was like, what do you do for makeups? And he's like, we allow makeups, but like, I haven't had anyone take a makeup in, probably 3 years. Like,
That's
a single
crazy.
person take a makeup exam. And she was like, what's your secret? And he was like, every single makeup exam is all essay questions.
Oh, and people don't want to write essays. They
And
want
no
to-
one in finance wants to write an essay.
Yeah.
And so, Carol Osborne was like, you're a genius. She told our class, she's like, I'm going to start doing it. I don't want to do makeup exams. So I thought that's very funny. She's an incredible teacher. If anyone, we're graduating soon, so there's probably a number of people younger than us that are watching the podcast. Take her class. She's incredible.
I'll say there are some awesome professors that you get access to once you get past the prereqs portion of your degree.
Yes.
Because when you're in the dispassionate lecture halls of 500 people,
Yes.
there are people who are decent at teaching, but you don't really feel like you come away from the class learning anything.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of the marketing prerequisites, in particular, is things that you would know if you already had a passing interest in marketing.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
I could never vocalize this because I just couldn't figure out a way to say it in my head. That's correct, 100%. If you have any generalized interest in marketing itself, basic marketing, other than vocab,
Yeah.
everything you can pretty much pick up instantly.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my problems I have with the actual curriculum.
Yeah.
Or the degree path.
I'm kind of feeling like that with my sports marketing classes because
You were talking about that on the Haley episode.
yeah.
Anyway, if you want to learn more about individualized classes,
Yes.
we have an episode ranking all the classes on a tier list that you have to take in a marketing major.
Yes.
And it's a great episode. It's very funny.
Yeah.
I would say it's pretty informative, so please go check that out.
Yeah.
But I think we're at time.
Yeah, I believe that we are at time. So thank you guys for watching. Check out our other episodes that are up on our YouTube page. Last week, I put up a bunch of the ones that were only Spotify and Apple Podcast exclusive up to YouTube. They're not sitting on that many views right now, so if you haven't seen those episodes, check them out. Watch our episode last week with Haley. Watch our episode that happens next week because it's going to be same time, same place, same bat channel, same bat time.
Yep.
Mondays at noon, we upload every single day or every single week. And show up to our general body meeting, which is going to be happening in BSN 225 on Tuesdays at 4:45 p.m. That is BSN 225 at 4:45 on Tuesdays. So,
And you can see us there.
yeah, you can see us there because he's going to show up.
Yep.
He loves showing up to general body meetings.
It's true.
Yep. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.